Well, in the room.
Feeling like
You
woohoo.
are live. Did I start playing? No.
Yeah. That's a lovely music.
All right. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy beloveds. Happy Friday. Happy February 9th, 2024. We're so excited to have you here tonight with our esteemed guest, Elsa. And those of you who are new here, I am Danny, a social worker and therapist, right? I use aromatherapy and marrying the two to help our overall well-being and quality of life. So,
Mhm.
with that being said, this month's series you may have seen in the live. I have a series of videos coming out this month. We had last Friday. If you didn't watch it, watch Sam, a Black woman build wealth. We have a Black women making history, right? Making
Right.
history, no matter how small, how grand, and everything in between. So I wanted to celebrate us and celebrate those who are out here in the community, just being wonderful and fabulous, and showing up and being their authentic selves and what their true passions are. And with that being said, my esteemed guest today, she is not new to the channel. I've had her here a few times. And where she
You.
is all things resilience. Social well-being and resilience is my sister right here, Elsa, Soulful Elsa. And just to give a brief introduction, Elsa is you're still enrolled, right, of the Robbins, what do you call it, mandates training? Is that my saying?
Madonna's, yes. Intervention, Robin Madonna's training, RMT. Yes.
Yes, and that's where you dive deep into the realms of personal development and strategic intervention.
Absolutely.
Okay, and it touches on the nuances of human behavior and mastering the art of effective communication. She is all about creating positive change and unlocking our potential and creating meaningfulness in society, whatever it is that you decide to do, right? Being your authentic self. So it is my absolute pleasure to bring Elsa here today to talk about that and to celebrate her, and all that she does and showing up in the world. Woohoo!
Danny.
Oh,
Oh, Danny.
I thank you for being here tonight. I am celebrating you, my sister, and all
Oh
that
my
you and your tenure in this field, right? I
God.
think
Yes.
before you mentioned that you've been in this field for
Oh my
30
God. Since I was
years.
17. Yeah, I started very early. Early. Age 7 to be precise, actually, but it evolved. Yeah, I've been on this path for a very long time. But first, I just want to say, Danny, thank you, and I also want to honor you. You're such an amazing soul,
Oh,
and I love you. You're just such an incredible individual, and I've never honestly met anyone like you, which is such easygoing, flowing, and I love the way we flow, the way we communicate. I just love everything about you.
oh,
No resistance. It just makes it so much easier to build with you, to create with you, and to just bounce ideas off with you. And I'm just so appreciative for you. And so therefore I honor you, my sister.
oh. Now she's trying to embarrass me now. She know I take compliments with true humility because I'm just like, oh, thank you.
So true. I wouldn't say it if it wasn't true, and you know that.
I know. And I will say that about you. You are one of the more um authentically honest people I have ever met. You say exactly what's on your mind and no holds bar, which I love that. You
I
know, I
it tends to get me in
absolutely love
trouble sometimes, but I'm okay with it, because it's yeah, we sometimes you just have to be I have to be me, we have to be ourselves, and sometimes we have to, rock the boat a little bit, make it a little bit more interesting, give it a little bit of diversity, and that kind of thing.
that. I understand. You say keep it spicy, keep it a variety, and it keeps people intrigued and interesting.
Exactly.
I thoroughly understand. So it's I'm a let the cat out the bag, so to speak. So we were preparing for tonight. I was like, okay, Elsa, what we're gonna talk about? I want to highlight, Black women making history series, but Elsa is all about helping. Okay, she is all about helping. It's not about her. She enjoys what she does and how she does it, but more or less, uh, if I could say it in a way, more or less limelight on you, but on what you can offer and what you can see in other people, the potential, right?
Yes.
For
Mm-hmm.
other people and how they can be their authentic selves and their best selves and live their best life, right?
Right. Yes.
So, with that being said, we're going to talk about, we talked about prior to us coming on, hold, what did we say? Secrets holding you back from
Yes.
personal growth.
What secret? What are the secrets you're holding on to
Yes.
that hinder your personal growth?
Mm-hmm.
Oof,
Mm-hmm.
oof, 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 oof. That's a big
Yeah.
one. I think.
So, what are those things that are maybe holding you back, ladies and gentlemen, from being your best self? What you think?
Well, I think oftentimes, just to when we delve deep, yes, when we delve deep into the question of that is oftentimes it's shameful acts about ourselves. And I think we talked about that. That could
Mhm.
be lying,
Okay.
that could be deception,
Okay.
that could be cheating,
Mm-hmm.
that could be, it could be a numerous of things. But
Mm-hmm.
the things that we consider shameful by our own standard and definition
Okay.
could be secrets that we hold that we don't want anyone to know.
Mm-hmm.
So those things, I think they tend to, because we tend to see ourselves or judge ourselves from through those set of lenses.
Okay.
um it's almost, as we were saying before we got on the show, it was, you know, the one person we cannot lie to is ourselves.
True.
It's like Elsa cannot lie to Elsa because Elsa knows Elsa. you know so because we're constantly observing ourselves, consciously or unconsciously, and we are thinking about the things that we are doing. For example, if you found $1 million in a
Mm-hmm.
briefcase, it has somebody's passport, wallet, or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
whether you return that or not to the rightful owner determines whether you're an honest person or not. So we tend to, and we will judge ourselves from that position, no matter what excuses we make to
Okay.
keep that. Oh well, I found it, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, but it has the person information. You can try to look at the passport, ID card, or whatever, but you can also reach that person. So if one was to keep it per se, then there's that self-judgment, because we know within ourselves
Mm-hmm.
we didn't do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
We might have justified it, but we know we did not do the right thing.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's just a lot of things that we do, so therefore we don't forgive ourselves for those things. And look, it happens. The idea is not about being perfect. The idea is about removing these, I don't want to say energy, but essentially, yes, it's releasing these energies that we harbor within ourselves.
Blockages, so to speak, would you say?
Absolutely. And that, yes, that energy creates a blockage. It's a blockage. It's limiting. So with that, we become limited rather than limitless.
Mm. So the
So
thing, mhm.
go ahead.
No, I was going to say the things that we are, how we show up in life, the things that we do, the secrets of our past, because we were talking about that, how we felt about those things, that's how that may keep us from doing the things that we want to do. Could be
Correct.
contribute to that. That's
Absolutely.
what you're saying. Okay.
Hmm.
So those perceptions of ourselves, if we've done those things, then that creates our self-image or our view of the world. And that limits us, if I'm hearing you
Absolutely.
correctly, if I'm understanding correctly.
Absolutely. Because it's dishonest, really. Right? So would that individual, will they be able to call themselves a very honest person? No, because they know if they kept it, they know that was not an honest thing. So if they're not honest, then what does that make them? Dishonest. And they know that about themselves. You see?
I do. So that being said, how does a person combat the things perhaps that they've done in their past, whether they meant to or not, mistakes like you mentioned? How do you get past that? And like in your coaching,
Sure.
right? So it's nothing new. Um,
Is to stop doing it. And once the person stop doing it, they recognize, okay, I'm no longer that person. For example, there's someone who, if someone's a smoker, like cigarette or whatever, and someone asks them, hey, do you have a lighter? What is the first thing they say? I'm not a smoker. That's the identity they know about themselves. I'm not a smoker.
hmm,
You see?
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the idea is when we stop doing that thing we do that hinder us from growing,
Mm-hmm.
then we become the opposite of that, which is now we live in life. We're thriving. It's not to say we're perfect. None of us are perfect. You know, none of us would be on this planet if we were perfect. I would say we would be somewhere in higher dimensions, right? But none of us are. But the idea is to learn from those mistakes. And the moment we decide to let it go or to release it,
Mm-hmm.
then we become different. We now have changed. We've now have evolved. We've now have grown. Now we have become more of who we really are. It's like we're moving up the scale a little bit. So yeah.
You said something important about when we release it. Now, to me, it sounds easier said than done, right? For some, that releasing piece sometimes can get us tripped up with. It's like, what is the process of releasing? You know what I'm saying? Like we can say, I want to do this, that, and thus, and I need to release that and that in order to move forward. But how might I release? What might that look like?
So to release it is, so think of it as a warden, for example. Well, let me back up a little bit. To release something means to no longer do it.
Right.
So going back to the analogy of a smoker. So I'm sure quitting smoking or is a challenge,
Mm-hmm.
right? Especially for someone who's smoked for a long time, right? It's a challenge. But the fact that they're willing to let it go, meaning I will no longer be a slave or a prisoner to this thing here, whatever that thing is.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it is whether it's opening up, or I will, or let me say this, someone not opening up per se. For example, there are people who are terrified of opening up because they're afraid they'll be judged, or they're afraid that they'll be found out, or they're afraid of they're not good enough, or whatever the reason may be.
Mm-hmm.
They may create a shield to protect that, to hide that. So the moment they release that, meaning, you know what, I'm going to try, even
There
a
we
little bit, just a little bit,
go.
that would allow so much light to come in
Mm-hmm.
to a point where they will begin to change within. And this is all to be felt. It's within. It's not out here.
Mm-hmm.
It's not out here. It's the identity we hold of ourselves, basically. It's the identity. It's like, who are you? Are you the person that's honest with yourself? Are you the person that says what they truly and honestly feel? Or are you the person that says what, what others want to hear because you don't want them to be upset, or you don't want them to leave, or like, what is it? So there's a lot of things that goes into this. It's not just one specific thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, we all are growing, we are all developing, but it's just making that step by step. Like, what do I want? Who am I? What do I really want to be? Do I want to speak my truth, or do I want to hold it in? Do I want to release? Do I want to forgive? Do I want to forgive this person?
Mm-hmm.
What do I want to forgive? What's that doing for me? Not forgiving someone, what is that doing for me? What am I getting out of it? What's my payoff? There's a payoff for everything. No one rarely does anything without a payoff. There's some sort of payoff that they're getting from it, even if they're holding someone prisoner or whatever it is, whether it's like addiction, it doesn't matter. There's some joy that comes out of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said something important in that, and all of it was good in the sense that you're willing to try. So what you find is that, when working with people, if their unwillingness to try, that negates everything. If they're unwilling to try to do something different, or show up differently, or just even taking that first step, then there's nothing more else to do at that point, right? Until you make that decision.
Absolutely. I mean, it's like a child, for instance. Can you imagine a child never making the effort and attempt to crawl or walk? No wonder why everybody walks, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. It's not about being perfect. Perfection doesn't exist. It's an illusion, like everything else. But perfection is not, to me, at least from my perspective, it's not real. It's not realistic.
Okay.
Excellence, on the other hand, allows us to make mistakes. It allows us to be fallible. It allows us to forgive others. It allows us to forgive ourselves, to say, hey, I'm no longer that person.
Right.
I've changed. And that's what it's really about. It's not about, there's an interesting saying in the English word language. Oh, I got away with it with the skin on my teeth. Is that how it goes? Something
Okay.
that, oh, I got away with it.
Okay.
But when people say, I've heard that saying somewhere. Oh, I got away by the skin of my teeth, or something like that. And it's like, yeah, and you just lied yourself, denied yourself another day of growth, another opportunity of growth. So no, not really. You delayed it, but didn't get away with it. We don't really get away with it. So it's really, when we say things like that, it's just, we're just fooling ourselves. It's like, you are fooling you all along. So that's what it really boils down to. Yeah.
So in intervention and getting people to be, what you see the word here, resilient, right?
So, yeah.
And our overall well-being is for us to thrive. right? And
Mhm.
wanting us to be our best selves. And if you could recap just a little bit about you mentioned last time about the 6 things that people need in their lives.
Mhm. So the 6 human needs are, these are essential. And I talk a lot of these with my clients simply because it's not a want, it's not a desire, it's a need. Like we need oxygen, like we need our heart to beat in order for us to survive. And these needs are very important.
Mhm.
And the first need is certainty.
Certainty, y'all. Okay.
It's like we need to be certain that we have a place to live, certain that we have a job, we can take care of ourselves.
Okay.
And when we don't have that, what happens? There's a lot of stress, there's a lot of worry. So we definitely need certainty.
Okay.
And number 2 is we need uncertainty.
Okay.
What is uncertainty? Why do we need uncertainty? Well, if we predict everything, if everything's going our way, then guess what? We get bored. There's no room for growth.
Okay.
Same thing every day, you know? So we need diversity. And so we are uncertainty. We need the diverse. And third one is to feel significant.
Okay. Feel significance. Okay.
It's like we all want to feel significant, whether it's our job, once that, or different, or appreciated, or that we matter,
Mm-hmm.
or that we important, or that someone cares about us, and that we mean something to someone, and that sort. And
Okay.
whether it's a relationship or whatever, but certainty is definitely there.
Okay.
Fourth one is love and connection.
Love and connection. Okay.
So love and connection. Oftentimes we do this one, sometimes consciously, maybe unconsciously, but love and connection, it's a lot of people do that. When we see something, for example, a story or something funny, what is the first thing we want to do? We want to share it.
Mm-hmm.
Love and connection. And through that sharing, what do? We are connecting.
Mm-hmm.
We are relating to each other. So we are connecting. So fifth, let's grow.
Growth. Okay.
Gotta grow. If we're not growing, we're dying. That's just, and death occurs every year, especially like if you live kind of like where I live, but you see a lot of trees or whatever. Every year there's death occurs and something new comes up, new leaf.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so growth is part of nature. We cannot escape that. We have to grow.
Okay.
We have to let go of the old and grow. 6, contribution. We have to contribute outside of ourselves.
Okay.
So these are the 6 human needs.
And
in all of this, there's no mention of money.
right.
So these are our needs. And if we're not getting these needs met, it causes havoc. And oftentimes, some of us could actually, without knowing, without just being unconscious, we can violate those needs. We'll violate our beliefs in order to get these needs met.
Okay.
For example, let's say in a relationship.
Right.
So you have a man, wife, or whatever, partners. When they initially meet, how does that go? Honeymoon phase, right? Is that what they call it, the honeymoon phase?
Everything is mushy, lovey.
Yeah, I'm thinking about you. Hey, honey, what do you want to do tonight? Just all these, everything's happening. Like the significance. Hey, I was just thinking about you. Instantly, that's significance. It makes the person feel, oh, they're thinking about me. Makes them feel good. But after a while, it's the same old thing, right? For some people. So when that occurs, they become bored. Boredom comes in. So now, guess what? Everything's too certain now. Oh, I know he always does this. Oh, I know she always does that. So boredom, you already know what's going to happen. You're too certain about everything now. So either partner, doesn't matter which one,
Mm-hmm.
now is looking for variety.
Hmm.
Looking to get that variety, or maybe even significant. This person doesn't make me feel this way anymore. Or he doesn't pay attention to me, or she doesn't pay attention to me, or they don't, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Their partner's not paying attention to them. So what does that make them? They don't feel significant anymore.
Mm.
So now, but they don't know that. So they'll go out and try to get that variety and significance somewhere else. But without knowing, unconsciously, they're looking to get that need met, which is feeling significance and the variety.
Oh.
But if they knew that, of course, they could probably create that, right?
Or communicate that, because one of the things you talk about is effective communication, right?
Absolutely.
So if you know that that's what you're needing or you're seeking, then you could address that.
Exactly. But here's the thing, they have to be truthful to themselves as well. It's You have to know what is that you need. Like, for example, someone says, oh, he doesn't love me. Well, love is different for everyone. Some people like to be whole. Some people want to be, buy them gifts. Some people want to be told, I love you. Some people want to be held. It's different for everyone.
Love
So if
language.
one is not able to communicate, what needs to happen in order for that individual to feel loved? And can they communicate that to the other person, to their partner, is the question.
Right.
But
Some would say that that's the love language of people. And you've heard that expression. Everybody expresses their love in different ways. So
absolutely.
your love language is different from mine and partners or what have you. Some people might want that cuddly feeling. Some people is just happy with you being there. You might
Right.
do something special for them all the time. Or maybe you enjoy cooking and their love language is cooking for you.
Some people it's a gift, buying them a gift. So it all depends.
Mm-hmm.
But most often people, when they don't communicate that, then that's when you have static.
Mm-hmm.
It creates a static. So and it all just goes back to, like you mentioned it earlier, it's just being authentic of who you are. Be authentic to yourself.
Mm.
It's like there's nothing wrong with needing, with wanting, and to ask for it, and to say no when you don't want to. Children, we were talking about earlier, like kids are great with that, right? When they don't want something, they tell you no. But adults, oftentimes we don't communicate what we want or what our desires are, because whether we're afraid or we feel shame or whatever it may be, it could be 101 reasons. It varies based on the individual. Each individual is unique as the situation, but that's what it boils down to. It boils down to being authentic to oneself, and to look at the intent. What is my intention here? So I know sometimes my other half and I, we joke about sometimes. It's like saying, hey, get me water. I'll get you water if you get me water first.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, so who's going to get the water, first? It's kind of like that in most things. But yeah, just by communicating what we need and what we desire. There's nothing wrong with it. But if we have other beliefs running in the background that says I'm not good enough, or I don't deserve it, and then there's a problem. That creates a problem. or a challenge, should I say, a challenge that needs to be overcome. Because anything, we can overcome things, but again, it all boils down to this: is it a must or is it a should?
Say that again.
I was saying, is it a must or is it a should? If it's a
Okay.
should, 10 times out of 10, they will not change. But a must, yeah, they will change. So a must is what changes everything. It's like, you ever had, like, at work, it's like, oh man, I must do this. Like, I'm not leaving home. Like, there were times when I showed up, like, I must do this. Like, I have, I must get this done.
Mm-hmm.
It's not I should get this done.
Right.
Like, if you're working on a project,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you understand the implication. And with that raises standards. So it's just about raising our standard. What are we willing to settle for?
Okay. So must and should.
Yeah.
Once you
I heard someone say, don't should all over yourself, Like, I should do this, I should do that, I should do this, I should do that. It's like, stop shitting all over yourself.
Right.
Like,
So you come to that crossroads. Okay, if this is something you must do, then you're determined to do it. Then you're determined to change. Is what you're saying.
absolutely. Because it's like we're setting a standard for ourselves. It's saying, like, I will no longer live this way. I won't allow myself, I won't tolerate it. But we have to get to that point. But if we don't get to that point, we'll just continue to do what we're doing. And we'll continue to tell ourselves stories. Whatever that story is. And it'll be justified. Because there's evidence that proves that.
How so?
Pardon?
How will it be justified?
I mean, it's like way people so for examples, say someone wants to, like, I have a friend, she says, oh, she wants to lose weight, for example, but it's not a must for her, it's a should. I want to, but so she tells herself, okay, I'll do it this way. Okay, maybe next week. It just goes through all these things rather than saying, hey, what's stopping me? What's really stopping me from doing this?
Right.
Ouch.
It has to be important to you.
Yeah. It's because we have to look within ourselves because we are doing it all by ourselves. There's no one else doing it.
True.
There's no, sure, I mean, a few decades ago, maybe we could have got away with it. Oh, I don't have this, I don't have that. But it's right now, it's, as we've said before on your channel, it's like we're living in an age, this is an information age where we can do whatever we want. But the question is, what do we want? We have to decide that. Absolutely. And the moment we decide, then we must do something to move in that direction. But sometimes for people, at least some of the clients I've worked with, but it's such, I have to do this, I have to do that.
Right.
And that's what prevents people from moving forward. Because, for example, if someone has to go to the gym, per se, and they come home, they're like, oh man, I gotta go to the gym. And they begin to think of all the process they have to go through to go to the gym. Tell me how exhausting this would feel. Okay, I have to get pack my clothes, I have to get my shoes on, I have to get my shorts, get my water, and I have to get my car, and I have to drive there, and I don't know what the parking situation is going to be like. And then I have to take the stairs. I don't know if the elevator is going to work, but maybe it'll work. And then I'll get there. By the time I get there, I have to, scan my key fob, and then I'll see if the equipment's available. And what if it's sweaty? And then, and I have to work, and then I work out, and then I have to take a shower, and then I have to get my clothes, and my clothes will be wrinkled. That's pretty exhausting.
Yeah. By the time you go through all that, you done talked yourself out of going.
Exactly.
Because you feel like it's too much.
Exactly. Yeah. It's too much. It's like, forget it. I'll just go tomorrow. And then the cycle just continues.
That is so true. So
So,
true.
yeah. So rather than saying, hey, I need to go, just get up and do it. That's it. There's no secret. There's no magic formula. There's no anything. It's just decide and do it. When I decided to get my driver's license, I decided, I went for it. Bang. I mean, life is really that easy. But it's just the stories we tell ourselves, the inner dialogue, the communication that goes in within all the time, constantly. Why things can't happen for us.
Yeah. Having said that story, it reminded me because people that I work with, I think I shared on the channel that I'm a lifestyle coach in the community, and I contact people, say, okay, we're getting ready to start, the program. And the first thing I'll hear sometimes is, oh, how long is this? I say, well, it's a so many time commitment, 1 hour a week. Oh, what time is it? But you've been presented with a health problem for which you're trying to resolve and don't want to take medication for. But when it comes time to actually implementing or actually doing something for yourself, it's like, oh, what do I have to do? And how long is this? It's like, okay, but do you want to be more healthy? I can't make you, or I can't, pound this information that we have to share with you, but you have to make a decision for yourself. So going back to your must and should-haves, is it a must for you or is it a should for you? And making those steps in order to make it happen in your life. So
yeah. Well, here's the other side of that. So it's like, okay, well, what happens if you don't do it? What will that cost you?
Absolutely.
Mentally, spiritually, financially. What will that cost you in the long run?
A whole lot. Yep. Absolutely.
Just something to think about.
Absolutely. I want to make sure I say shout out to our Black woman, Bill Well. Thank you for being here, sweetheart. Good evening. Appreciate you and enjoying the conversation. We definitely love to hear about what your thoughts are about what we're talking about today. And for those of you who are new here, Elsa is a resilience coach in the community, and she's been doing this for a number of years, and she is good at what she does and working with her clients, and some corporate clients, some private clients, right? And one of the sounds like the ongoing themes is that coming to that crossroads of must and should, and deciding, making that decision to do the thing that you want to do, or whatever it is that's holding you back, and releasing those secrets or releasing those things about yourself, or making different choices about yourself in order to do the things that you want to do, to keep you from being this limiting sort of mindset that perhaps that you can't do the thing, or you don't know how to do the thing, so you don't do the thing, whatever that is that you're wanting to do and thrive.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, to me, I think we talked about this earlier. It's the power, we've heard like everything, like, oh, how powerful we are and how powerful our mind is, and how the human only uses 5% of their brain, or 7%, or whatever. I don't even know what the chatter is, but we hear all these chatters, but how often do we stop and ponder on that? It's the power is within. It's like, earlier I was sharing with you, Danny. It's like, what if you knew? What if everything you ever wanted, could ever want, money, love, joy, health, abundance, you name it, Everything that you ever wanted was right in front of you, but you couldn't see it.
Hmm. Right.
What would
Hmm.
that life look like?
Good
You know?
question. Good
And it's
question.
there. And so it's like, how do you convince? It's like the story of Magellan. I think we talked about it the other night. Um, the story of Magellan basically says, when he assured, this is what they found in his log ship, that when he assured that the natives could not see the boat or the ship, when he told them that he assured, because they had no concept of that ship. And when I initially read about that, I was like, how is that possible? How could they not see it? That is crazy. That is the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Mm-hmm.
This must be some kind of, like, there's something I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth of that was, my other half asked me to, was looking for the spike seasoning. And it was literally in front of my face. And I said, where is it? I don't see it. He said, it's right there. I said, no, it's not. I don't see it. And he got up and he's like, what is this? I was like, oh my God. But there was just a lot of things there. But in my mind, I kept saying, I don't see it. I don't see it. So how many times has that ever happened to you, Danny? Like,
Yeah.
were you looking for something, but it's right in front of your face and you're like, oh my God, it was right there all along.
I'm embarrassed to say I've been looking for my glasses since it's been on my face. That has happened to me. Not a whole lot, y'all, but that has happened to me. I look at my glasses. I was like, oh, they're sitting on my face. That don't make no sense. So I get that.
Yeah.
I
So
totally get that.
yeah. So, and that's kind of how life is sometimes.
Mhm.
Everything we want, everything we need is right in front of our face, but we don't see it because the
Mhm.
mind is somewhere else. The body is here, but the mind is somewhere else. And we're telling ourselves whatever it is. In my case, it was like, I don't see it. What are you talking about? I don't see it. And it was just like, what is this? Like, my bad, you know? And I feel life is like that. And but it's just the stories. It's what keeps us captive. The stories hold us
Mm-hmm.
prison without walls, unfortunately.
Mm. Yeah. And the possibilities. And I can say this, just having hearing you talk about that, I think about just a decision to have this channel. If I had a thought too much about this, this wouldn't have happened, Elsa. We might not have met because
Right. Right.
I came to I want to say a cliff, so to speak. I was like, okay, either I jump now, it's either now or never,
Mm-hmm.
and I just jumped, right? And move forward. I didn't know what it was going to look like. I didn't know how I was going to show up. How in the world am I going to be on camera? All the things you might, think about starting a YouTube channel. Like, who's going to watch me? Who's going to look at me? I don't want to be seen. All the things.
Right.
But
Being
and
able to overcome that. Yeah.
yes, but can I say it's going on 2 years this April, y'all. Have I gone through every day or every month and not had doubts? Absolutely not. Some days I've woken up or done some things and I'll say, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Because it's so out of character for those people who know me, or close friends or family. It's like, that is not her. So if somebody had told me 5 years ago that I was doing this, I would be like, no. What, introverted me? No. So I get that. I
Yeah.
get that. And it's a day, would you say it's a day-to-day walk, a day-to-day process? In other words, you don't decide one day and it just stays forever. You still have to do some mindset work or some self-talk.
It's like we have to move in that direction. It's it's like moving in the direction of what we want, and everything that we want will come. I know it sounds like airy fairy, but it really does. It's like you said in your, in the past, a conversation, Danny. It's like you start attracting different people. You start to meet different people, and you start, oh, this idea, that idea, you get invited to this, or this person will contact you, and this person will introduce you to this, and next thing you know, you're doing this. It's like, wow, how did this happen? It's so interesting how everything just comes together, and the people you meet, the people you interact with, is like, whoa. And even if certain people, like, kid you not, if someone is not on that same wavelength as you are, they start to fall off, because it's like you really don't have anything in common anymore. You see, it's because you have changed, you have shifted. And that's what life is really about. It's just making that shift. It's not saying, like with some of my clients, sometimes they're like, I want to do this. Again, that gym analogy, right? It's like, whoa, you're aiming too high to begin with. Take it down a notch. Do one thing at a time. Give yourself that courtesy to just, do one thing at a time. But when we try to do everything at one time, it gets overwhelming. It becomes a lot. Of course, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So, start going to the gym and trying to lift, like, bench 250. No way. Unless you've been training for that. You've been, but every day by increasing the weight, eventually, yes, you might be able to do that.
Right.
Oh, similarly, like, if you're right hand, whichever is your dominant hand, left or right, like for me, my dominant hand is my right hand. So if I try to write with my left hand, it's going to be challenging. Of course it is. Because I'm not accustomed writing with my left hand.
Right.
Because it's not my dominant. But it doesn't mean I cannot learn to write with that if I practice on a daily basis.
So taking that step to practice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Same way. Like, we didn't learn to write our name. Imagine how long did it take us to walk. Walking is it's not easy to learn to walk. It's not easy, seriously. But look how long it took us to do that, or even to learn to write our name, for that matter. So you just have to be patient with ourselves, and as long as we're heading in that direction, honestly, over time, time just compound on top of it, and before you know it, you're doing it. Like beginning.
So celebrate the small things, the small victories, the small, to get you to the goals that you want to accomplish.
My grandmother used to always say, all things start, small things grow to be big things. So everything starts small.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like the seed, like this flower here. It started off as a seed in the ground. We didn't see it. And then it started to grow on the ground and then permeate up.
Yeah. But exactly. And taking that analogy, and when we plant a seed, we don't, a corn or whatever, we don't stand on top of it and say, hey, hurry up. Like, we know there's a maturation process that it needs to go through,
Right.
And life is like that. It's just ease and flow. But that's what
So give yourself grace. So give yourself grace for doing whatever that you're doing, even if it's at a snail's pace, but at least a snail or turtle. But at least, at least you're taking the steps to do the thing, as opposed to sitting back and saying, I should, and shouldn't on yourself. So that's key. Black Women Build Wealth says, we wish we could be gentler with ourselves as adults. Absolutely. Give ourselves grace.
Absolutely.
No matter how long it may be taking or to do a thing. Or if you tried, you're like, oh, that didn't work out, let me try something else. But at least you you tried, and you can say you tried. I always think about in my more mature years, what would I want to say? Would I want to say that, oh, I tried it, it was interesting, and I did it, yay? Or would I want to say, I wish I had tried that. You
Yeah.
never know what might have came out of it. You don't know the people you might have met. You might the places that you would have gone, the experiences that you might have had, and you just don't know, or the legacy you could have left. Because that could have planted the seed for somebody else.
Yeah.
Either
And
in
that
or
ends
out.
up being a regret, right? It just ends up being a regret.
Uh-huh.
Instead of life being a celebration, it becomes a regret.
Mm.
You know? So, and that's like one of my biggest takeaway. It's like one of the things I ask myself is this, when I get older and I'm sitting in that rocking chair, and I've got this from someone. Who was it? I think it was Tony Robbins, where he said, when you get older, whatever age, 90 or whatever, and you sit on that rocking chair and you reflect back on your life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just, I don't want to have that regret. Like, I wish I had done this. I wish I had done that. Because I would say that's a huge, 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 huge thing. So when I think about that, I'm like, oh, like, I don't want to have any regrets,
Right.
And just life, it's a celebration to live our life, to live our best. We're not perfect. We're not meant to be perfect. We're just growing. We're growing and evolving. That's it. We're becoming more of who we really are.
Yeah.
Not who we've been taught we are.
Mm.
Not this all outside the knowledge that we acquire about ourselves based on societal or people, parents, or any of that.
Mm.
When we begin to see ourselves, our true self, then we know who we are. We begin to know who we are. Yeah.
And life is meant to be lived, right? It's not meant to be sitting on the sidelines and watching it go by,
For sure.
and trying the new things like we talked about. So, you also talked about before, you touched a lot on what we've been talking about is mindset, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your mindset. Sometimes our mindset has been based on past experiences, family upbringing, what we've been told that we could do and should do, and wanting permission to do the things that we are doing, or feeling like you need permission to do something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you break away from that mindset of historical stuff
First
that
thing, you got to recognize that. You got to recognize your limiting beliefs. It's like, if I know if my car has certain problems, I need to address it. It needs attention, right? It's like that. So anything that we may lack in our life, whether it's relationship, whether it's love, money, whatever it is, rather than just continue to tell that same story, it's like, maybe it's time to take a look at that. Maybe it's time to look under the hood and see what's there. What limiting belief is there? And where does that come from? Because the truth is, we all are limitless. Literally, we are limitless. Ideas, when it's focused and channeled the right way, absolutely. Take a look around our world. We now have face-to-face communication, mobile, TV, internet, trip to the moon, to the space shuttle, whatever. We have airplanes. We have everything. Electric cars. Pretty soon we'll have flying cars. With AI, just so much So much.
Possibilities. Absolutely.
Everywhere. Whether your house, your car, TV, desktop, laptop, whatever device you're using to watch the show.
Right.
It all came from a thought. And I know everyone thinks. We all think. We all have our thoughts.
Ab-
But the question is, the thoughts that we have, are they empowering us or disempowering us? That's the question. If they are disempowering, it's like depositing. If we were to have a thought, deposit thought, like in a monetary sense, would you be wealthy or poor?
Mm. Something
Yeah.
to think about. Something to think about. So the thoughts you have, put them in two categories. Is this an empowering thought or is this a disempowering thought? And if it's a disempowering thought, let that go and deposit more in the empowering thought process.
Yeah. And let me just a little expand on this, because if it doesn't feel good, it's definitely not empowering thoughts.
That's a good point to make, to distinguish between the two. If it doesn't feel good, okay.
It doesn't feel good, because you see, our feelings are our guiding system.
All the time. All the time. Absolutely.
Our feelings let us know whether we're going up or down. So, whatever thoughts we have, even when someone's thinking something about someone negative or gossiping, does that feel good?
No.
Nah.
Does nothing for you. Absolutely nothing.
Then that would be disempowering. Speaking negatively of someone, is that empowering? Doesn't feel good.
Absolutely not.
When we praise someone, does that feel good? You bet it does. That's the difference. So the idea is to feel good. It's good to feel good, you know? I don't know how to say it. It's good to feel good. And our feelings are there to let us know. It's our indicator with what is happening on the inside, because we'll feel it. So I say do what feels good to you. And the more you do that, you'll be surprised.
Which leads you to do the
Sorry, go ahead.
I say which leads you to do the things that you want to do. Feeling good and working towards whatever it is. It doesn't have to be something grand, but whatever it is you make the decision to do.
Yep. Being angry at someone, does that feel good? Nah.
Mm-mm.
Holding a grudge against someone, does that feel good? Not forgiving someone, does that feel good? Nope.
Holding negative spaces. I put, it's been said something like, I heard the expression, I don't want to give them rent in my headspace or something like that.
I don't want, to rent. Yes, rent space. I don't want, I don't want to rent. What, they shouldn't rent. But anyway, you're talking about, I've heard it too. Rent space in my head, something of that sort.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's taking up space in your mental, like in your mind, and it's why you're renting that space out to negativity, I guess, essentially, what it boils down to.
Which is not fruitful, and it doesn't do anything for you. And, if we're talking about vibration and energy, it's low vibration, right?
Very low. Very low. Because it doesn't require much. Negativity and dumb. Negativity is dumb, and it really doesn't require a lot of intelligence. It really doesn't. So gossip really doesn't require any effort. It really doesn't. It's just negative. And it's kind of gross. Really.
Or anything they like, any conversation, that is not fruitful, that isn't, or anything that you might be doing that isn't fruitful or helping with your overall well-being and quality of life, right? Be it thinking, speaking, acting, you know, it doesn't do anything for you, and it doesn't get you to that higher vibration, which attracts more,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm saying that correctly. So,
Absolutely.
um, so you bring me to the point of like when, how do people know that they need some sort of, um, as we wind down here, how do people know that they need some sort of help in that particular area? What might they consider? I'll put it that way. If they need a coach, if they need someone to talk to, if they need, or would it be advantageous for them to do so? I'm not going to say need, because some people are like, well, I don't need that. But what would be some indications that perhaps, you know what, it would be good to talk to have a coach like Elsa, or to talk to a professional that can help me to unblock some of the things that I'm wanting to do in life?
Well, the first thing is, again, it's a must. It has to be. Is it a must or a should for you?
Okay.
There are people who say, I want to change. A
Uh-huh.
lot of people, a lot of people want to do a lot of things,
Mm-hmm.
but how committed are they? If I call you, if for example, like meditation, as you know, with me,
Mm-hmm.
like my meditation, to me, it's vitally important. I would not miss it for anything in the world. I don't care if I'm going to be late for an appointment. I will not miss that.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because that's, for me, that's time to myself. It is, for me, it's a must. It's not a should. So, in other words, I'm committed to that 100%. Even if there's somewhere I want to go, or my friends are, heading out, and I want to go with them, but it's like, I need to get my meditation in. It's like, I'll do this and I'll catch up with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, oh, I can do that later.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not for me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's whatever it is that a person wants. It has to be a must. First is like, you got to understand, why do you want to do it? Because your why is what is the driving force.
Mm-hmm.
The why is what drives us. So if the why is not strong enough, then you have no fuel. You have nothing, like, we have nothing to fuel us.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing that pushes us, for us to catapult to the next level. It's just gonna be, as I say, it's like a lukewarm bath. And that's a really sad place to be, really. That's a scary place to be. If somebody's scared, that's good. At least that will motivate them to move towards something,
Mm-hmm.
But to sit in that lukewarm bath, I often feel sorry for those people, to be honest with you, because it's a really sad place to be. Because it's like they're comfortable. It's like they're not happy, but they're comfortable, and it's what's familiar. That's a really sad place to be. But again, it has to be why. Like, your why has to be bigger, and it has to be important. Why do you want this? Like, why do you want a lot of money? People think, oh, by having money that it'll bring them happiness. Nope. No, it will not. It will not, because you still you. Everywhere you go, there you are. You can move to another city. I have a client. She's like, I want to leave here. I want to go live somewhere, and I'm just like, nope. Everywhere you go, there you are. It's like we cannot run away from ourselves. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, the thing is, we have to live, and look, success, whatever definition of success is our birthright. It's by nature. That's what we're thriving for.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, success is part of our spiritual heritage, if you will. There's no way around it. If we're not growing or being successful, it's death. Why do you think so many people want to be successful, whatever that means? And it varies for everyone. Why do you think it's part of their nature? It's part of who we are. Sure, it varies. It gets intricate or can get complicated as we grow. I mean, when we're children, hey, it might have been to stand up or learn to walk. When we get, a little bit older, maybe it'd be to write and to stay within that line. And after that, adolescent, teenage, whatever, is maybe to take that trip or to get that job or to get that apartment. This is all part of who we are. We're growing in different way, and you notice the success changes as we grow older. Our desire changes.
Oh, yes.
So a lot of us read. Why do we read? And in a number of areas, could be philosophy, psychology, meditation, aromatherapy, you name it, parenting. Why? Because we want to grow. If we didn't, we wouldn't be doing that. You
Right.
understand? So growth is part of who we are. Success, how we grow. And we define that success, each of us. And success, it varies for everyone. There's no one specific thing. Having a lot of money, it's not. I've known people who have a lot of money and they're not happy. I've known people who've gone to school and studied a certain field to please someone. And later they discover, I don't want to do this. This is not what I want to do. I want to write books, or I want to work at the gym. It changes.
Yeah, that it does.
So it's all up to the individual. How do they envision their life? How do they want to live? What do they want to contribute? What do they want to leave behind? How do they see themselves? Each person is different. And the way we see ourselves, is it our own, or is it something we were told from the outside world?
Right.
Because I guarantee you, when we were children, we didn't have any of these problems. We want something, we say, I want this. No. Or I don't want this. Kids are so, they're good with that.
Right.
They don't want something, they're like, I don't want that. No. It's a complete sentence, and they understand that. But as an adult, for whatever programming we've had, whatever beliefs we're taught, actually we're domesticated. Ouch. Seriously, we were all domesticated. Whether it's through our parents encourage us to do this or not to do this, or if we did this, we were rewarded, and we'll say, good girl, good boy, whatever. Or you did this, or you should do that, or you're bad. Same thing you do with dogs, right? Isn't that how they train dogs? So we've all been domesticated, and we have to realize that all these belief systems, where these beliefs come from, they're people's ideas. There's no, it's just a belief, and a belief is something that we say it over and over, and after a while it becomes a belief. Or we see something over and over, and after a while it becomes a belief. So it's worth questioning. What's worth looking at? What are your beliefs, and where do they come from? And a lot of the beliefs that we hold, I guarantee you, they're not our own. They were influenced by other people.
Gotcha.
So how do we get to ourselves? It's by keeping the mind quiet, by keeping it still, to be able to go within where that's silent. And all the chatter and all the noise just fades out. But until we can go within, we're definitely going without. And I will say this probably until the day I die, because it's so true. All is within. So we need to evaluate our beliefs. whatever it is in our life that we want but don't have yet,
Mhm.
let's examine that belief. What beliefs do I hold around this in this area? Whether it's relationship or money. That's are usually, the biggest thing for people.
Mhm.
Like, what is your belief around that? It's like, it's time to examine it, not just believe everything like willy-nilly, what our mind tells us or our brain tells us. Because those are programs. It's been downloaded. We've been downloading a lot of programs since we were kids. What to do, what not to do, how to behave and how not to behave. All of this is programs that's just running like a virus. So we want something, but then it's like, oh, can't. It's like a limit. There's a limit there. And where does that limit come from?
I
And
believe so.
yeah, and we have to release that. What is release? It means it's time to look at it. It's certain things we believe when we're kids. Yes, that's understandable. But now we're an adult, and as an adult, we can, we can look at it from a different perspective because now we have more knowledge. Versus when
Mhm.
we were a kid, we didn't have the we didn't have the courage to question or challenge certain things because the parents or the caregiver, we didn't challenge them out of fear. But now we're an adult. We can look at that and question it. Where does this belief come from? Who says? Who? Who says that I'm not good enough?
Hmm.
Based on what?
Right. Yeah.
Based on what? What evidence does one have? And I certainly can't compare myself to. I can compare myself to you. I cannot compare myself to anyone. How can it? They're
Right.
not me. It's not fair. It's not a even. That's not even equation there. Like, so it's, yeah. Just I would look at that.
All right.
If not, I guarantee you there's people out there that are more than willing and that spend a lot of money
Mhm.
to hijack the mind, the
Hmm.
minds.
Hmm.
So totally up to you, to each of us.
So making that decision that this is a must for you, and deciding that whatever it is that you plan to do, if you're needing help in that area or
Absolutely. Gotta
seeking
seek it out. Absolutely. And asking for help is not a bad thing. It's not, I think there may be like stigma. I used to think like there was a stigma like growing up,
Mhm.
but really it's not it's a comment on your strength. It's not a weakness to
Mhm.
ask for help, you know. Or like it's yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. And that being said, sometimes we may feel like we need to be strong at all things.
Well, you don't have to be. I mean, sometimes, look, it's okay not to be strong. Says who? And if
Mhm.
we are doing that, whose story is that? Who says we have to be strong?
Mhm. Yeah.
And why are we being strong? Are we being strong to earn someone's love? Or is it because it's expected of us because we play that, we front, is that the word? We front so much or pretend to be strong. Now it's almost expected from us. And we have to fulfill that role.
Right.
It's like, hey, sometimes you just don't feel like doing it. I'm like, you know what? I just don't feel it. I don't feel like doing that.
Right.
you know?
No more of
And
that.
it's okay.
Right. And that feeling just from being the strong Black woman, you don't have to be that if that's your background. Just I can only speak from my perspective. So, feeling like I need to be that because perhaps messaging says that I need to be strong and always there or wearing a cape, and we throwing away those capes, y'all.
And here's the thing, though. The fact that you've made it this far,
Mm-hmm.
anyone. It's already strong. There's nothing to prove.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like
I like
when we,
that.
yeah, there's nothing to prove. Just when I think about me, it's like, wow, look how far I've come,
Mm-hmm.
how far I've got in my development. Period. Whether I know little or not, it doesn't matter. Just how far we all have come, really, for that matter.
Right.
You know, we're not some Delaware Sequoia or like gonna fish somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, we are where we are because we've put in the work, and there's nothing to prove. Life is meant to be joyous and to have fun because that's what feels good, and our feeling indicates that. So, as the saying goes, if we're not doing one, we're doing the other.
Okay.
So, what are we doing here? You know? So, it's just, life is just about feeling good. And when I say feeling good, genuinely from the heart, opening up. We have to open up our heart. It's all love. Love is the basic building block
Yes.
of the universe. That's it. Love that
Strongest.
goes beyond all names, you know?
Absolutely. It's the strongest force on earth.
Yeah.
Consider it love. Heard it been said, and it definitely, when you have love and working in intention of love, it works out much better.
Don't it?
And then you attract that. When you're projecting love, it comes back to you.
Comes
Most
back.
definitely.
It
So
really is. Because look, here's the thing. Have you ever thought of someone and then either someone calls you,
yep.
or you run into them, or they text you, or
Mhm.
something like that? How did you attract that?
Emitting that energy of wanting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, there wasn't a lot of stress around it. There's no tension around it. It's like I'll say, "Oh God, I need to call Danny." You
Mhm.
know, like the other day, you know, I was like, "Oh my God," you know, I said, "You must heard me. I was just thinking about you," and boom, there she was on the other end. That's how life works. Easy. It's just very easy flow. It's not that complicated, but we complicate things. So I get it.
So we're
Um, yeah,
so we're either in attraction or um, what is the word? Repelling, so to speak, as it said in help me out here with in asking and is given.
absolutely. Oh yeah, absolutely. It's I mean, it's been said the same way. So here's the thing. This is the way I look at it, right? I look at it where it's, you know, when those, you know, when we read a lot of books, and I thought to myself, man, I read all these different books and just a number of books, and it all says the same thing. There's that common thread,
Okay.
you know, whether it's Joseph Murphy, um, you know, Tony Nader or Tony Robbins, whether it's, you name it, Bruce Lipton, it doesn't matter. They all say the same thing. So then it occurred to me, it's like, you know what? All these people are different people, and they're all saying the same thing.
Okay.
From Shakespeare, all of these people, Newton, everyone, when you read, it's like they'll say the same thing. The power of our mind. So why everybody's talking about this if it's not true?
Mm-hmm.
That was the first epiphany for me. Like, all these people keep talking about the same thing.
The power of the mind. Okay.
How powerful the mind is. And the power of the subconscious mind. Whatever. It's just all powerful. I need to look into it. So it must be true. Again, a belief.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the belief for me. It's like, well, you're these different people saying the same thing. So let me play with that.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and I'm glad I did, because it really changed my life. Literally.
How so?
In a lot of ways. Wow. Well, let's just put it, my life could have gone in a number of ways. I've been through it all, as you know, Danny. I mean, I was abused with my mom, physically. When I came into the US, I was 12 years old. I grew up in a foster care. Didn't speak English. Had to navigate through that. And just going through the whole foster care process.
Okay.
And after that, once you turn 18, it was like you get kicked out of the Garden of Eden, with no life direction, nothing, no instructions, like what to do. And literally, my life could have gone a number of ways. I could have gotten mixed up with a bunch of other stuff. Poor me, I don't have a mom, I don't have this. I could have played that story, and sure, and everyone would have understood that. Surely I could have held on to that story. Poor me.
Mm-hmm.
A 12-year-old kid come from Africa and just like thrown into the wolves. My mom doesn't love me. I have no one to love me.
Right.
Poor me. Sure, that could have been a story too.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't want that story. Did not want that story. And I spoken to, like, when I share my stories at different venues, it said, I had someone say to me one time, wow, you've gone through all this. I'm surprised you didn't become either a prostitute, pregnant, end up with kids, or a drug addict or an alcoholic. And I was like, wow, I never even thought about that, But yeah, I could have very well have been, but again, that goes back to what must be a must rather than a should.
What was that? I'm sorry, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
No, I just said I wanted to raise my standard.
There you go. That you answered the question I was going to ask.
Yeah. For me, I wanted to raise my standard. I did not want to be that, and especially with my mom. Like, I love my mom. She's a wonderful person. And, was it tough? Yeah. But I also understand where she's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Young mother, she's her late 20s.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden she has a 12-year-old daughter, running a business, multiple
Mm-hmm.
business, distressed single mom. Yeah, that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So now looking at her world, like what life must have been like for her and how did she grow up, taking all that into account.
Right.
It's like it just made me have more empathy for her. Like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
At least I'm appreciative that I have, books and things that I can turn to. She probably didn't.
Yeah.
And how would that have affected her? And I wonder, like, would that have changed her life? Probably. Maybe. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But she worked her whole life, and was stressed the heck out like everyone else. And she did not have a tool. Not because she was a bad person, not because she was a mean mother. Of course not. She had me. She carried me for 9 months. But she didn't know how to handle that. And am I going to fault her for that? Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't know. But some of us still hold our parents as prisoners. Mm-hmm. Oh, they should have loved me more. Self-importance. I'm important. Oh, my life turned out because of this, because she didn't do this, because she didn't give me enough love. Really? It's interesting, Danny, you know about my birds, right? So the birds. So my birds, I call them my birds. But, I watch the birds, and oftentimes when I'm just watching nature, yeah, initially, the baby, they get fed by the mother, bring them food and bring them worm and stuff. But after a while, you gotta go out there and fly. And it's very interesting to watch that. But humans, we're still holding our parents as prisoners, like they owe us something. Our parents did the best they could with what they know. They're not gods. They're not perfect. Just because they are our parents doesn't mean they are exempt. They are fallible. They probably had a tough life, probably a lot tougher. I know my mom probably had a lot tougher life than I did.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, but just so it's growth. It's about growing and forgiving and understanding, placing ourselves in their position.
Mm-hmm.
How would I handle that at 27? Working like multiple jobs, with back problem and running two businesses, and single mom and debt bills. Oh my God, that's a
Mm-hmm.
lot. That's a lot. So it's just the way it is, man. And I'm very appreciative that she gave life to me, and I'm here, lived it, survived it, and here to share about it, talk about it.
Yes. And thank you for sharing that story. Yeah. Thank you for sharing a part of you. You've talked about it before, but I thank you for sharing it the way that you did today, because it helps to bring that epiphany. You talked about, people in coaching and present themselves and wanting to do the things that sometimes we might let our past get in the way of us moving forward in life. So I thank you for sharing that. And you said a key point too about forgiveness. Got to forgive. It's not for them, it's for you to move forward in life. So with that being said, as we wrap up, what do you see like the future of coaching?
Well, I think I told you. Do I dare repeat again? So, oh my goodness. So it's been evolving for me, right? So I started out with, I wanted to help everybody.
Okay.
It's like once you become aware, like just a little bit, because I'm always growing, we're always growing and
Yeah.
evolving, and you get, and once you get that one thing, oh my God, I get it, I want to help everybody, I don't care who, I want to help everybody.
Right.
Then that was the first phase. So the second phase was like, okay, I only want to work with people that really want to change, so I'm gonna do this, right?
Right.
So I went through that phase, and where I got rid of quite a bit of my clients. I fired my clients. Ouch! How dare I say that? I did.
Out loud, right?
Out loud, yes. And on camera. Oh my God. And I did that. And I recently, you know what I did? I took on an assignment. A client. I wouldn't say assignment, but a client that was wow. That really taught me something really special.
Okay.
That helped me identify what I think.
Mm-hmm.
That helped me literally. That helped me identify who I want to work with and who I do not want to work with. Let me just
Okay.
And for that, I'm so appreciative to that client. So yeah. So now I'm focusing only on coaches. I want to work with coaches.
Okay.
And the reason, what do you want me to tell you? Do I say the reason?
It is your stage, sweetheart. We are celebrating you. So you pivoted. You want to work with coaches, and yes.
So yes, I would love to work with coaches, simply because a lot of coaches go through this training process, right? They get their certificates, but oftentimes they don't have the practical side of it, the practicing, etc. So that makes it, a little bit challenging for most to have that confidence, because you went and got the certificate, great, but now you really don't know how to coach per se. It's not that you don't know, but it's just there's no practice.
Okay.
Like you get your license, but you're a permit, but now you need to practice, put in the hours. So it's kind of like that. So I want to work with individuals like that and just give them a lot of shortcuts. And then also just focusing on my oh, that's a secret. Oh, okay. I'll expose it on my public speaking. I will be doing that in the future. So sometime this year. some good stuff.
Okay.
Surprise her.
Oh, awesome. Yay.
I wasn't going to say Danny, but well, here we are. It's good.
She's working
It's
on her
something
public, going
I'm
to work on
really
your public
excited about.
speaking. Yeah. And
Yeah, I'm really
forward,
excited. Mm-hmm.
look forward to that. We're going to have you back to talk about that afterwards.
Yes, afterwards, yes. So that's definitely a lot of good stuff in the pipeline, and I'm just really appreciative. The future is bright,
Mhm.
and I am just so excited. The opportunities, everything that's out there,
Uh-huh.
it's just wow. It's just amazing. It's a lot of things are gonna change for sure. But one thing that will not change is I will be here with you, Danny, as I told you
Oh,
before.
I feel honored. I feel honored.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, thank you for saying that. You're just so sweet.
No, dead serious.
Oh,
I it's rest assured about that. Yeah, you're very special, Danny, and I sincerely and I tell you this all the time, but you are such an incredible, incredible human being.
well, thank
And
you.
what I love about you, Danny, is this. You can come up with an idea and you can just like we can vibe off. You're like, okay, I'm listening. Okay, I'm listening as I'm just going on. You're like, okay, I can see that. And I just love the energy that you put in. It's just such oh my god, it just creates such a great dynamic friendship here, and it's just so phenomenal. And I've met a lot of people, but I've never met anyone like you, Danny. You really are special.
And
Really.
she knows she's making me blush, right? Yeah, because we had this conversation off camera that me accepting compliments has been a growth for me. I will say that. I'm saying it out loud and in public.
Good for you.
Accepting compliments has been a growth process for me. I didn't always accept them gracefully. And when I say that, I'm so shocked and surprised that somebody says something nice that I may clam up. And I'm like, oh, they said something nice. That's so sweet. And then I'll say later to myself, Danielle, did you say thank you? Make sure you say, I'm big on thank yous, y'all. So I'm like, did I even say thank you? So I thank you humbly for that, and I accept and receive that. I also want to say thank you to the folks that I'm missing my comments, y'all. I'm not being a good host today. Stopping by, Marilyn B. I so appreciate you. Love you for that. Black women build wealth, something we were talking about. That's so true. Until we go within, we have to go without. Gosh,
Yep.
yes, most definitely. And then closed mouth don't get fed. Absolutely.
That's funny. Didn't we say that earlier?
Yes.
When we were talking?
Yes, missing the comments. I'm just catching up with them. Forgive me, y'all. And, and then last but not least, Black Women Build Wealth says, what is the difference between a must and a should? And
standard. When it's a must, it's like a standard. When it's a should, it's like, I should do this, but you know, it's just a must for me. Is I must do this. Why? Because it's like raising the bar. It's about standard for ourselves. For me, at least. You know, when I decided to study, turn inwards, like completely just isolate, like I just left all the world and just literally turned within.
Right.
Meaning gave up like TV. I've been like then you and I talk about this. I've been off the grid TV. Like I haven't watched TV in like a long time. I don't even know what's on TV. I don't even know if TV even exists nowadays. I hear about Netflix and things. Never cared about that. Social media, never really cared about that. Having a job, I never cared about that either. The only thing I cared about is can I work and pay my bills? That was it. But the rest is I wanted to learn. I wanted to study books. I dropped out of college just to, because I was like, I don't want to accumulate this debt. I didn't know what I wanted to do. But it was just more, I became like, I was rocking the cave woman vibe, if you know what I mean. Like, it was just me, my books, and that's it.
You were off the grid.
And why that was important for me, because I did not want to end up in the way that, like my mother used to say some very hurtful things out of anger, not
Okay.
because she was bad, but and one of those things was, I will never mount up to anything. I will never become anything. And I was so determined that's not gonna happen.
Right.
So that became a must for me. I must become someone, for myself. Like, I have to prove my mom wrong. Like, that is wrong. And that was a must for me.
Right.
And quite frankly, I've lived a great life, to be honest with you. And I have no complaint about my life. I would not change anything about my life. Absolutely nothing. Because if it hadn't been for that, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Right.
If my mom was that kind, I would have just been like, probably like my mom. I would have been a typical, I don't know, can I say this? Yes, I can. I would have been like a traditional Ethiopian or Eritrean girl. And just, I would have been in that insulated
Okay.
culture where it's just very basic. I would not have been able to expand in the way that I have. I would not have been able to travel to the place I've traveled with. I've traveled 7% of the world, and I don't think it's to impress you, but to possibly impress upon you, but to be able to do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's
I do.
that mentality of, just like, don't go over there, or, stay here, be safe. That whole insulation, I would have been really insulated.
Right.
And I don't think I would have grown the way I have. To a point where now does fear creep up? Sometimes it does, but I don't stick around there too long. And you and I were talking about this earlier. Fear is like, for me, it's not, I don't view it, like, it doesn't imprison me. Let's put it that way. Because I know, like, the things I've gone through, things I've conquered, things I was able to get through,
Right.
has made me fearless. Literally. So when something happens, yes, the idea of it might brush me the wrong way. Just that feeling initially, it's like, ugh. But then it's like, wait a minute. I can pivot very quickly.
Right.
Yeah. But if I would have grown with my mom in that culture, oh my God, it's rather frightening.
Right.
It would have been rather frightening. And like I said, I've had a great life, and I would not change my experience of anything for anything in the world, because it really just made me who I am today.
It made you stronger.
Yeah.
Made
It
you
just showed me what I'm made of, what was inside of me. And it forced me to, like, bring that out. And I've done some really, really cool things, like, seriously. And it's just, I love it. And whether it's with jobs, and I've had all types of jobs, worked in Fortune 500 law firms, everything, sold tires. I've done all kind of work, like, believe it or not. Because I didn't care. I just want to be able to pay rent and do this. That's how I was living. But even in that, like, got into real estate, then started investing in properties and all these things. It's just, man, life is good. Life is good. I can't complain. And yeah, so there you have it.
All right.
That's
That's why we're celebrating you, my sister, and all that you've been through, and showing up and being you. And
you're so sweet.
Out here making history and making a way and showing that it is all possible regardless of our backgrounds. And I'm sure there's some people who can relate out here to your story. And I so humbly thank you for sharing, because I don't take it for granted. People
of course.
putting out, their feelings and things that have gone on, because, so some it might be private. And so I don't take that for granted. So the fact that you shared that is so precious. And you freed somebody today.
Yeah, and
today.
And you know what? And that's so true. And then, you know what? First, I just want to say, And you said it. And, really, it's just to show that we all, there's not, the saying, there's nothing new under the sun. But literally, there's nothing new under the sun. We've all gone through some things. We've all, like, I guarantee you, if those of you who are watching or like watch the replay or whatever,
Yes.
and I guarantee you, if you and I were to sit and talk, we have a lot more in common than you will ever realize.
Right.
So it's really by opening up, or sometimes we feel ashamed or we have that stigma, like, oh, it might be judged. But the truth of the matter is, we've all, in this group called humanity, we've all gone through something, one form or another, because we all live in this same place here, planet Earth.
Right.
And life here is just, human beings are human beings. So we've all gone through all types of stuff, but it's not, life is happening for us, not to us. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's for us. It's for a reason and a purpose, and it serves us.
Right.
It's our perception. Do we want to be a victim, or do we want to look at it, what can I learn from this situation?
Absolutely.
Or what can I get out of this? What can I do? It could be in anything. I've had a job, let me just say.
Mm-hmm.
I was working. So when I first got this job, so this was after I dropped out of college. I was like, no way, a lot of debt. And I wanted to do something that did not require a degree. So I was thinking long term. And I thought, well, what can I do? So I did accounting. I decided I wanted to do a finance, and I wanted to, entry level, basically, like an accounting clerk. And I got the position, luckily. And the way that happened is so incredible. And why am I sharing the story? Just to show you the possibility, how things work out. So I quit my job. I made a list of all the jobs, and required a degree. And I went through it and finally settled for finance. And once I did, I applied with a hunter, also known as accounting, headhunters, temp agencies. So I was placed to work for this company, and they were looking for receptionists. So I went and took the position. And 2 weeks later, after I was in that position, the gentleman comes on the second floor, comes up and say, hey, so-and-so is leaving to go to Florida to go back in school. We're looking for an accounting clerk. And the first thing I said to him is, you're looking at her. And he said, have you done accounting before? I said, no, but I'm a quick learner. And he kind of looked at me, and I looked at him, like our eyes were like locked. And he kind of chuckled. He said, all right, well, we need to find your replacement.
Wow.
You see? So the idea was, I had it on paper. I wanted to do it finance. So from that point on, I've worked very hard. Yes, I've worked 12, 13 hours a day. I was there at 5 a.m. in the morning. Didn't leave till like 6, sometimes 7, sometimes.
Wow.
But I learned it. And once I learned that, I worked there, 4 years. And I was ready to move on. I applied for a position. They wanted to hire me management only. So I came across a job. Both jobs I really loved. One was a marketing firm, and the other one was like a hotel type of hospitality, if you will. Both had great benefit, great salary. I couldn't decide like which one I wanted to accept.
Okay.
What do? I accepted them both. I took them both, and I did. Because I couldn't decide. I was like, well, I'll go work this company for a week, and if that doesn't work out, I'll do this. And that's exactly what I did. So I went to work out for this company, that hospitality, whatever. It was great. And my first day, they wanted me to do 12 hours. I was like, oh no, forget it. So I worked that whole week, and I had quit my current position at that time immediately. So went to work for them for a week, didn't like it, took a week off, went to Florida, visited a friend, and came back and started the other job.
Okay.
Because I told them I couldn't start for another 2 weeks. I had to give 2 weeks notice. But yeah, I told a fib, but hey. But that's how everything started for me. And then you just start to learn, create, like when you start to just take care of yourself. When you just focus only on you.
Yeah.
And sure, was that being dishonest to a degree? But here's the thing, okay? They're doing the same thing too. They're looking out for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I have to look out for me, just like you have to look out for yourself. You have to do what works for you, what is best for you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Absolutely.
and keeping your options open. So
Yeah.
yeah, so things do work out. They always do. And like with the accounting, know what you want. Just intent. Intent is so vital. And that's what I learned. From that point on,
Right.
that became my foundation, if you will. So I can always rely on that. It's like
All
I did
right.
this, I wrote this down, I knew what I wanted, I applied for this job, and then the way things work out. This is my story now. This is me rewriting my story.
Right.
So that's what that looks like. So
Awesome. There. Thank you for sharing this. Black Women Build Wealth. She's celebrating you too. I love that.
celebrate all of you, those who are watching. Seriously.
Yes. Yes. Well,
Sincerely. Yeah, yes.
oh, OMG. We are at almost 10 o'clock. Did we
Oh,
realize we were going to
really?
be that long?
No. No.
But once we start talking, we really can talk all night. But I won't hold anybody who's. I appreciate Black Women Being Wealth who's being here, who was here. Thank you very much, and I thank you for that compliment. Wholeheartedly, I agree. Danny's being a special being. Oh, you're so sweet, sweetheart. I send you much
She
love,
is. She is.
much love, sweetheart, and Um, with that being said, me being humble and thankful for all things today, I thank you, Elsa, for
I
again
thank
for
you, Danny.
gracing us with your presence, and I look forward to having you back and having on with all the wonderful, exciting things that are going on in your life. And oh, I just can't wait to present them
Yeah.
and
Me
share
too. It
share
gets
with.
better and better. Life is good.
Yes, yes,
And
yes,
thank everyone. And yeah, we honor every single one of you sincerely. This comes from the bottom of my heart.
yes.
I want you
Absolutely.
to know that you are a magnificent being. And I don't just say that.
Right.
I don't just say that. You really are. If you're
Yes.
watching this, there's a reason why you're watching it. You're attracted in. And I want you to know that you are indeed a magnificent being. And I'm just here to remind you of that. Thank you. And lots of love to all of you. Danny.
Yes, yes. Thank you for that. We accept and receive that. As Black Woman Bill Well says, thank you, ladies, for this great combo. Can't wait for Elsa to come back. Woohoo! Yes, me neither.
Wait, don't we have that thing coming up? When is that?
Yeah, so oh yeah, so thank you for reminding me. So everybody stay tuned for we have a jam-packed weekend. Yeah, Elsa today, thank you as we celebrate her. Woo! And then tomorrow we have Stephanie Perry. We're celebrating, who talks about freeing Black women and living on your own terms and moving abroad. So excited about that. And then on Monday, we do have Elsa back with our brother Andre. Oh, that should be a wonderful conversation. You guys are in for a treat. Okay.
For sure.
In for a treat. And when I tell you, you don't want to miss it.
Yes.
Oh, brother Andre brings it with his serenity and all. I don't want to, spill all the tea, as they say, but he is going to bring.
It's going to be amazing. I'm excited.
Amazing. And I'm super excited for him for joining us on this series. And so I'm sending love to all of my guests. And later this month, I have our Marissa Price, my fellow social work sister, and also Sandra. And I may have another guest that may be a surprise. So we'll see. That's forthcoming. But I have Sandra on the 26th, Marissa on the 23rd. And I just can't wait.
Woo!
I'm enjoying this series. I thank you all for watching and showing up and celebrating these wonderful ladies who are making history. Be on the lookout for what they're doing. Be on the lookout for what they are doing, right? And you can contact them at their handles. And go from there. So anything else you want to we're about to close out? Anything else you want to say?
I just want to thank everyone and just know that you are loved beyond your wildest dream. And then just take it easy. Be nice to yourself. Be kind to yourself.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that last word. And as I always say on this channel, let us continue to learn grow, and share together naturally. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, God bless you. I love you. And thank you again for watching.
Bye
Bye bye
bye.
for now. Good night, y'all. See you tomorrow.